2013. New Zealand First will not support that.
Paul Goldsmith.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to take a short call on this, the Building Amendment Act number 4. Interesting to follow New Zealand First. Mr. Williams, an old-style regulator, terribly worried about the prospect of freedom stalking the land and people like me, Jerry builders going out and knocking up things on my property. Well, funnily enough, at Christmas I erected a trampoline, and that it was quite a large trampoline, and it could fall over. I might have done it wrong, and I'm sure Mr. Williams had half a chance. He would have had the council inspecting that at great expense, no doubt. And the horrors of people going and building outhouses and things like that, and doing what they like on their property. This should never happen, according to Mr. Williams. So I do think we need to strike a more practical line of approach, and this Building Amendment Act is all about making sure that the building sector, which accounts for around about 5% of GDP in this country, about the same size as the agricultural sector, and which employs 171,000 people and 100 extra, I am informed, about 1 in 12 of the workforce, is an important part of the economy, and we need to make it efficient and effective as possible, given particularly the great burdens and requirement for housing in this country, in Auckland particularly, and in Christchurch. And so this is part of a suite of legislation that flows out of the Building Act review, and we've dealt with the Building Amendment Act 2012 formally, number 3, and this one here tidies up those matters which we've heard about around making contractors more accountable through the disclosure of information. And my colleague Jackie Blue talked about the concern that a lot of people have around people wrapping themselves up as a company and disappearing each year after they've built a particular house and not been around. And so this legislation is about making it clear that people that people know what the history is of their builder in terms of their contractual arrangements before they go into any contract. Quickly running through, the committee heard a lot of submissions and have recommended quite a number of changes to the legislation around all sorts of things, from the measurement of dams and canals, the meaning of affected buildings, the classification of dams, the classification of canals, and we've listened a lot to the submitters over the course of the weeks that we listened on the Select Committee. And I have no doubt, as a result of that, this legislation is better and is not going to have... there is always the risk of unintended consequences on this kind of complex legislation. I think over the course of the Select Committee work, we did iron a few kinks out and have got this legislation into a good shape. And on that basis, Mr. Speaker, I recommend it to the House.
I call the Honourable